Please note that this episode contains mature and potentially triggering subject matter.
Veronica? Hey, do you have time to talk? I found a lot of stuff in the box.
May 12th, 2003. I'm good at a lot of things, but school has never been one of them. Now, I make up for it in spades with my winning personality, varied interest in pop culture, and a round off into a full split that could easily make me cheerleading captain senior year. But I know what people think of me when they see me. Dumb blonde. Which is why I fell in love with math. I think it was the certainty of it all. When you were right, you were right. You can't make 12 times 18 anything other than 216. Plus, being able to raise my hand and get the answer first surprised people around me. Defied their expectations. I was in 6th grade when I realized I was good with numbers. And that made me put even more energy in. If I was naturally good, I could become great by trying hard. So, I became great. I skipped ahead to geometry by 7th grade and started taking classes at the high school next door, which had the added bonus of putting me in social circles with kids who were older than me. More mature than my middle school friends who weren't yet interested in boys or booze. I was ready for everything. And being good at math led me there. Plus, I had a really great teacher. This is The Crime at Camp Ashwood. Episode 10. You plus me equals us. It was Halloween, and I dressed as a fairy. Sparkly purple tube top and a flowy skirt with wire-framed wings that made it impossible to sit normally in chairs, but looked stunning. I'd put glitter gel over my eyebrows and clipped purple extensions into my hair. When math class rolled around, there was a quiz. I knew I was acing it, but I guess I didn't realize how much faster I was writing down my answers than everyone around me was. Because when I put my pencil down, he noticed. "Miss Cameron, is there a problem?" he said. "Oh, nope, I'm just done," I replied. "Chickens are done. You're finished," he said, but he raised his eyebrows when he said it. I'd impressed him. I smiled. He said, "Want a chance to add extra credit too?" I nodded, giddy, and he began writing a new problem in chalk on the board. I started working out the new problem on the paper in front of me, but he shook his head and pointed to the board. "Come solve it up here." And there. He paused, looking over my work slowly. For a moment, I started to get nervous that maybe I'd gotten it wrong. I shifted back and forth in my giant platform sandals, teetering, but then his hands gripped my shoulders, steadying me above my fairy wings. He gave them just the littlest of squeezes before letting go and walking to the board, where he wrote a giant check mark next to my answer. "Great work, Miss Cameron. Have you thought about joining the math club?" I told him I didn't think I'd be allowed. I was still a 7th grader and had to go back to the middle school next door for my other classes, which were at the same time the club met. "Let me see what I can do about that. I think you belong over here," he said. I nodded and practically skipped back to my seat. Jacqueline, the sophomore who'd been sitting next to me all year, looked at me and said, "That was really weird. Are you okay?" I didn't think it was weird at all. "Never been better," I said. My stupid middle school principal wouldn't let me join math club. She said she didn't want me to fall behind in my other classes or lose my lunch period time with friends my age. It was bullshit. But RK made extra time for me anyway. First, we set up tutoring sessions after school in the courtyard. I would do the same projects that the kids in math club would, he decided, so I could be part of the club, even if unofficially. It was our little secret. He even got me a club t-shirt. It was bright red with apples and numbers all over it. It was so ugly. But I wore it to bed almost every night. When I finally became a real high schooler, RK and I became real friends. I was able to join math club, so we started skipping the courtyard hangs and doing other stuff. Grabbing takeout, going back to his apartment and watching movies. He wasn't that much older than me, really. 27. It was almost the same age difference between my mom and my dad. And I've always been, like I said, a little older. That's what I told RK. One night, I was wearing my cheerleading uniform. We were watching She's All That at his place. He reached for the popcorn at the same time as me. Our hands grazed for a second. He didn't pull his away, so I grabbed his whole hand. "Sadie," he scolded me. I apologized, and he said I didn't need to be sorry, but that we just couldn't do that. It wouldn't be right, he said, to make me keep that kind of a secret. But I reminded him that us hanging out at all had already been a secret for a long time, and look how good I'd been at keeping it. I liked keeping it. I told him that I wanted that, and so we did it. I'd been getting catcalled on sidewalks for years. Boys in school spread rumors that I'd done this or that with them. I was branded as a slut before I'd even kissed one boy. I was so glad to be getting my first time on the record for real. Even if I knew it had to be a secret. Actually, the secret was maybe the best part of it all. I knew something nobody else did. I was powerful. While the other girls in my grade were navigating mixed signals from boys who still barely knew how to brush their own hair, I was in a whole relationship with a man. It was perfect, with a capital P. For a while. Close to what would have been our first anniversary, RK had started sneaking into my bedroom at night. We were pushing the limits. I knew it. And I guess I'd also started to know that this whole thing wasn't exactly right. The fun of the secret had started feeling like it was holding me back. When the homecoming dance rolled around and my friends had dates, I had to make secret eyes at RK while he chaperoned instead of slow dancing under the lights with him. So, RK and I made a deal. I could have a decoy boyfriend to take to school events, to go on double dates with, to present a facade of normalcy. Enter Paul, who I hate lying to because he is so nice and fun, and I think he really loves me a lot. So much that it makes me wish I could just love him back. It would be convenient, simpler. So many things had gotten so complicated in the last year. Plus, I stopped being good at math. Actually, I've started struggling pretty badly in all my classes. My dad had always expected perfection out of me, even though my parents were, to put it mildly, too busy with their own drama to pay any attention to the fact that my calculus teacher was coming over to bone me almost every night. My dad started going in on me when they got my report card. Dad screamed at me that if I didn't pass my classes, I wouldn't graduate. And if I didn't graduate, I'd never get into college. And if I didn't get into college, I'd never leave home. And my dad would have to tell his friends that I was too stupid to do anything good with my life. He said that he heard me and my boyfriend, or whoever that guy is that night, doing bad things. I'd turned out to be a little slut. I know my mom heard all this. No, she saw me expertly covering bruises with her makeup. No, she must have felt like something was off with me and RK when she went to math club competitions and saw us giggling together in the corner. She never said anything, though. One night, He hit me so hard I had to skip school the rest of the week to avoid anyone seeing the bruises. That's when I decided to leave. And I've been putting the plan together ever since, setting a record of what's happened. My dad's escalating violent behavior, the love between RK and I, so that my friends will understand why I had to go into hiding, so that they won't hate me, and so that they'll eventually be able to come find me. The plan is like numbers. If I make sure people can add them up right, there's no way to change the answer.
I can't believe we never knew any of this. Why didn't she say anything or ask for help?
Maybe she thought that her plan would get messed up if we reported it. Or that this RK person's identity was at risk. Do you know who that is?
It was a big school. I never had math with her. Honestly, we hung out a lot more in the summers than we did there. Different friend groups, she was a cheerleader, and I was a nerd.
You were smart.
Same difference.
Do you have a yearbook we could look through?
Great idea. I'll bring it right over.
Okay. See you soon. If you'd asked me to describe Sadie when we were 16, I'd have told you that she was the picture of confidence. That she had the whole package. A perfect life. She was so cool that I couldn't even believe that she still wanted to be friends with me. I never would have guessed that underneath it all she was hiding so much. That her world was being shaped by abuse and manipulation. That she was so good at doing her own makeup because she'd had to be an expert in covering bruises, and that she seemed so sexually mature compared to me because her teacher had coerced her into a twisted fantasy world he'd designed. That she'd staked her whole future on some runaway scheme. That her expectation was that people like Veronica and I would just add up the pieces and come find her in some West Coast villa and go along with this plan like it was a good idea. I've kept replaying that summer over and over as this last period of innocence in all of our lives. Those moments with June in the cabins laughing and telling ghost stories over s'mores. When all along Sadie's innocence was gone years before then.
This is from 2002 to 2003. Faculty pages are back here.
Rachel Horton, Bonnie Cronfeld, Rick Klein. He missed picture day. Shit.
Wait. Klein?
Yeah.
As in counselor Rick Klein. Paul and JJ's cabin counselor at Rockland.
Holy shit, Counselor Rick. He would have been right there. At the dance, that night Sadie went skinny dipping. He was her high school math teacher?
Margot? He was also June's secret boyfriend.
Where is he now?
If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, support is available. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or the National Sexual Assault Hotline 1-800-656-4673. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Crime at Camp Ashwood. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. If you'd like to support this podcast so we can keep making more episodes, click the support link in the show notes. To learn more about this and all our projects, visit our production company websites, dragonhunterproductions.com and newgirlpictures.com.